angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth of stone or ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Got to change my pot out here. I got one that's not firing very strong. Anyway, some people are probably wondering, what the hell is he talking about? My pod, because I'm vaping on these little stupid fairy-looking pod system e-cigs. So, nonetheless, I love it. I absolutely love it. Anyway, wow. So, has it been a busy weekend? My weekend was pretty nonstop. A lot of stuff this weekend. Today was a really, really busy day. And then, you know, I'm probably going to have some really busy days to come. So, lots of stuff. So, I only got about half as much done today as I intended to, just because of the way things worked out. So anyway, I had planned on getting potatoes started, and I didn't get that done today. I have to get that done tomorrow. I've got to get it done before it's too late. So that I wanted to get done, and I also wanted to drag some tents out and check them out. Of course, that didn't happen either. So it's been, nonetheless, it's been a very busy day. So anyway, my monologue I'm going to be talking about, and I'll be getting to it here in a moment. I'm going to be talking about the most important prep. You know, we always talk about flashlights and bug-out bags and food and all these good things, you know, the things. But I think the most important prep is overlooked, and I think it's heavily, heavily overlooked. And as being what it is, it doesn't matter what things you have. It doesn't matter if you have all the things. If you don't have this, you have nothing, and you will fail. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So anyway, before we jump into that, let's see. Where do I want to go? Well, you got to see over the weekend 2 legacy review videos. We did. We've got one more that we have to get done. Today I put out a video on the birth of a Prepper Nurse 1 decal. So I showed you a little bit of vinyl decal cutting. And so I've got a bunch of stuff with that. I had a delivery of coffee mugs come in today, and some more heat pressed vinyl for shirts. So again, tomorrow is going to be an insanely busy day because I've got to fight a sublimation printer and get it unclogged and printing so I can get a bunch of cups printed out, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a run of cups and have them all, you know, printed, sublimated, and done, ready to go. I mean, I'm even going to have them boxed up, ready to go, because that's the way I like to work. I like to work out of stock, not out of desperation to get it done. So anyway, I got that going on. I'm trying to think of any other updates. I was going to show you real quick where we're at. As I've always said, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. Let me cough 1 second. We're starting off a little slow this month for Amazon, but that's okay. You know, we're at 861. So if you do shop on Amazon, I know we have become Amazon shoppers now. However, if we purchase an item on Amazon, we can't get credit for it as far as like earnings from Amazon. They won't count it. But anyway, we have actually started shopping more on Amazon than in the past. We used to be, you know, pretty much exclusively eBay. And sorry if you hear weed eater, it never fails, folks. It never fails. It's that time of year, and they always pick this time of day to go past with a weed eater. I need one of my own, right? And then I can go out there and it'd be like fencing with weed eaters. That would be hilarious. I'll make sure Jen records it. We'll make a YouTube video all the way up to them putting me in the back of the squad car and taking me away. So anyway, So, they don't count our, what we buy. So, but it is what it is. I like that we are Prime subscribers now. I never was before because I didn't order enough on Amazon to make it worthwhile to me. But since we decided, well, we're going to try to start going the Amazon way, we are loving the free 2-day shipping. Then we get Prime Video, we get Prime Books. I mean, it's actually a pretty sweet thing for like $12.99 a month. It's actually well worth it. So I'm not trying to. Yeah, I guess I am trying to advertise for Amazon a little bit. That's fine. Hey, look, here's the thing. I'm all about cheap. And if you can get cheap delivered fast, that's even better, right? So anyway, if you do shop on Amazon, in the description of the video, you will see our Amazon link. If you would so please use that link when you go to do your shopping. It helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything more. And I'm done with the selfless promoting, right? So anyway, that's where we're at. My goal actually is to at least get up over $10 because that's the lowest amount that they'll pay out on. So this month should be, at the end of the month, should be our first payment coming from Amazon, and I'm looking very forward to that. I've already talked about we're going to be checking out Kratom. However, I think they might be getting some samples for me in the mail today, just some samples for the Kratom. So I'm looking so forward to that. I can't wait to tell you guys how good it works, or tell you that it's a bunch of BS and it doesn't work. Either way, you'll know if it works, because I'm telling you. Let's see. Okay. Let me, I think that was it. I think that was all the other stuffs. So let's talk, as soon as I get a sip of coffee here, about the most important prep. I see a lot of people out there that they're so focused on buying items, right? Whether it be knives, guns, bullets, all this stuff. But they don't have any knowledge or ability to be able to do anything with those items if something goes wrong. Your best prep is knowledge. And I know it sounds cliche and you've probably heard it a million times. But the thing of it is, okay, you want to spend now to learn how to do things. If you don't know how to work things, how to fix on things, how to make things work when they don't, now is the time to learn, okay? And I take, myself personally, I take every opportunity I get to learn something new. I take every opportunity I get to try something new. Each and every time. Because I tell you what, okay, let me give you an example. Okay, now I know how to do plumbing, for instance, household plumbing. Not, in my opinion, not very hard to do. But like today, okay, I went downstairs in the basement and I noticed a drip. And sure enough, we had some drain lines that were dripping. And so, real quick, I contacted the landlord, let him know. I didn't really look into it, investigate it at all. I just noticed the drip. I was busy doing other things. I just contacted him. And so he had came over, and we went downstairs, and he was looking around, and he goes, well, that's coming from your bathroom. And I'm like, oh, it is? Okay. And he's shining the light up there, and he goes, it looks like it's coming from your toilet. Oh, okay. I said, well, I didn't even look that close. I have no idea. And what had happened was the wax ring was starting to fail on the bottom of the toilet. So, again, not a big deal. And it's something I've put in toilets I don't know how many times. Or rebuilt the kits and the inside, the tank kits. Wow. That guy just loves to hang on that throttle. I don't know how much you guys hear that, but it's loud here. So anyway, he's like, well, I'll have to replace that wax ring. And we came back upstairs, and he was kind of taking a look at it inside. And I told him, I said, oh, by the way, I said, I popped the top of the tank off, and I said, that thing broke like a long time ago. And I said, I just stuffed the hose in there. And it's got a different type of flush system than most of them that I've ever seen. In fact, this is the first one like this that I've seen. And so anyway, he's like, well, I'll pick one of those up too while I'm out getting the wax ring. So we're sitting there talking and stuff, and I just immediately went into the bathroom and started pulling the bolts up for the, for that stool, and pulling the line, the feed line going in for the water. And before he even got out of the bedroom, the bathroom's so small, 2 people ain't fitting in there. Before he even got out of the bedroom, I already had the toilet ready to pull up. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you this story is because there's 2 important things in that. Number 1, I have the knowledge to be able to do it myself. Not that I have to. This guy, our landlord, is absolutely awesome. Not that I have to. I could sit back and, smoke a cigar and, give him cheers and clap and all that good stuff. I didn't have to do that. But I have the knowledge to do it, and I'm standing there, and I'm not lazy. Plain and simple. I am not lazy. And I love to work on stuff. That's my passion, to fix stuff. So anyway, there's a second part of that, okay? That goes a long way with other people, with other humans. When you have somebody, when there's somebody that is not easily bullshitted, right? Not easily impressed, not, that's been around a little bit. You always know those that's been around a little bit, because bullshit don't fly, right? And so, it leaves a mark on them, a good one, a positive mark on them. He knows that I have no problem chipping in to do something, to get it done. I constantly, anytime he's here and he's doing something, I'm more than willing to chip in. One of my areas that I am weak in is like construction, okay? Kind of weak in those areas. And so, like, when he remodeled the apartment next door, I was over there any chance I got. I was over there, and I was learning as much as I could. I learned about how to refinish a wood floor. Never knew how to do that before. I'll tell you what, I never could tape drywall and make it look even remotely decent, right? It looked like crap, and I had no idea why. No idea why. I learned how to tape drywall, how to make it look good, okay? I had the opportunity, and I invested the time and took a little time out to give him a hand and learned how to do it. It's important, right? Which that also leaves an impression on people. So make sure, that you're spending now, that you're spending today, learning how to do things, learning how to repair things, learning how to keep things going, learning how to modify or adapt. Huge, huge skills to have. If you have if you have a hammer and what you need is a nail, you better figure it out. You better figure it out. The thing of it is when things go awry, we're not going to be able to buy more things. And I know you're probably thinking, duh. Well, here's the thing. You want to learn now, because let me tell you what. I'm almost 47 years old, and in my 47 years, I've repaired a hell of a lot of stuff, right? But along the way, I've broke my fair amount of stuff trying to repair it. Okay, now typically only happens once. Usually when I break something, I pretty much figured out what I did wrong, and I do it differently the next time. Okay, so now is the time to do it, because if you go to repair something after the balloon goes up, and in some part of the process you fail and you break something, you're not going to be able to go to Amazon. You're not going to be able to go to eBay or your local hardware store. You're not going to be able to get the items that you need to make it right. So it's better to screw up now than what it is to screw up then. I see an awful lot of people out there that are quote-unquote preppers, right? And they have all the things, right? All the things. But they don't have very much in the line of common sense, and they have very little in the line of ability. Okay? That's not going to fly. That is not going to fly, right? Because the littlest failure in your system could mean the end of you and everybody that depends on you. It's that important. That's your most important prep, right? I can even go down to this. Now, I've got areas that I need to build on, and we all do. There is nobody out there that knows everything. They're good to go. Oh, they're good, right? Anybody that tells you that, they're absolutely full of it. One of the areas that I need to learn is foraging, right? Because even if you have a very small amount of food in your preps, if you know how to forage, if you know how to hunt and fish, trap, if you have those skills and that knowledge, okay, especially the foraging, you can survive. You can survive. So it's very important to know those things. Extremely important. And that falls true for every other area. You know, if you have a generator in your preps, okay, and you don't know how to repair that generator, and that generator breaks down, and you need that generator because you based your preps around it, which is a big mistake, guess what? If you don't know how to, repair it, you're done. You're done right there. It's over. So these skills are important, right? And makes me want to bring up a topic that actually came up last night on Prepper Nurse One's live stream, and I want to set some things straight, okay? I don't know where some of the information is gotten from, okay? I have no idea. In fact, it boggles my mind. But there seems to be a thought that Amish people are going to be easily wiped out after the balloon goes up. And I have to laugh. I have to laugh. Because let me tell you something about Amish people. They are some badass people. Big time. I don't know where this notion is that they're unarmed, right? There are so many things I could tell you that I'm aware of about the Amish people. Why? Because I've actually researched it. I don't just talk out my ass, okay? I've actually researched it. It's I couldn't tell you enough how much true knowledge is vital, okay? Don't just pull opinions out your butt and call it knowledge and think that's the way it is. Let me tell you a little bit about Amish. Now, there's different type of Amish people, okay? There's your true blue Amish people, right, that wouldn't touch anything that involved electricity for any reason, right? But there is a growing number of other Amish communities. I think Hematite or something like that, or Hutterite or something like that is one of them. There's several different ones, okay? And for instance, for number one, again, where this notion that Amish people are unarmed comes from, I have no idea. That is about the goofiest, stupidest statement I think I've ever heard, okay? They are not unarmed. Number two, when it comes to defense, if you don't think the Amish people have gotten together and discussed this, you're silly. If you don't think they've had meetings and sat down and said, okay, look, if things go crazy out there with all these pampered people, guess where they're going to come? Because they've seen us live in a primitive manner and survive in a primitive manner. Where do you think they're going to come? You absolutely have to be mind screwed to believe that they've not had these discussions amongst themselves, okay? And this plays into what I'm talking about the most important prep, which is the mind, knowledge, ability. This is the most important prep. I will be willing to bet that they have some pretty extravagant plans set up for anybody that wants to come in and cause them problems. Okay, because they expect it. They expect it. You don't think that they don't realize who we are, and when I say we, I'm not necessarily talking about myself or any of you listening, okay, because I'm kind of speaking to the choir here, okay, but you don't think they realize who or what our society is? Come on. That's why they avoid it. That's why they avoid it, because they see the sickness that it is. Okay? And that's just a reality. But let's go on to like the Hutterites and the other different types of Amish people. Okay? They have rules set up, right? In which they can use different things like electricity on certain days between certain times and yada, yada, yada. I know this because I know somebody that used to work with them, okay? And the particular Amish people that they worked with built cabinets, okay? And I couldn't remember. It's been so many years ago. He told me what days and the times and all that stuff. But yeah, they had power tools, and they used power tools, but it was only on certain days at certain times that they used those power tools, okay? And then back, I had a yard game business many moons ago, and the shed that we bought, okay, it was 14 by 32, I think. The shed we bought that I turned into a shop to make the yard games was built by a different group of Amish people than the ones I mentioned previously. But they too used power tools. And guess what? Guess how they brought the shed to me, right? You think they really put it on a horse and carriage and buggied that sucker all the way down here, a 14 by 32 shed? No. And I guarantee you the guy was Amish that got out of that truck. Okay? I guarantee you he was Amish. Okay? So, the thing of it is don't think that just because they have the name Amish that they're unarmed, that they're unknowledgeable, that they're so primitive they would have no idea or no way possible to defend themselves against us. We are a cakewalk to those folks, okay? I just wanted to clear that up. Because I hear that and you can't even imagine the absolute stupidity that I see when I hear statements like that, okay? And I will call it out. This is my time, my place, my forum, and I will tell the truth. I don't care whose toes it steps on, whose it pisses off. I really don't care. To me, the reason I'm here is to get knowledge out to you, right? To get news out to you. And I promise to always do that, and that's what I will do. So anyway, the most important prep is your mind. And that's whether it's the knowledge and ability of how to do things or the impression that you leave on others that is around you. Because let me tell you something. Karma is a very, very real thing. Very real thing. Okay, I can tell you right now that there are individuals that would have no chance in hell at teaming up with me after the balloon would go up, just simply because of how they were before the balloon went up. Just a fact, right? If you're absolutely lazy and get away in life trying to do as little as you possibly can get away with, if you think you're teaming up with me, you got another thing coming, right? Because I'm not going to pull the load for somebody that's perfectly able, right? Because they didn't learn to apply themselves. See, that's kind of one of the things that I've always worked towards in my life was being self-disciplined, self-motivating, okay? You have to be. Even when I didn't work for myself, when I worked for other people, I used self-discipline and self-motivation. Right? I would challenge myself. I'm not into competitions. I'm not into rat races. I don't care if I can outdo somebody else. I'm only worried that I can outdo myself. Right? That's the only one we need to worry about. The only one we need to worry about is ourselves, as far as with what to look at, what goals to set, and stuff like that. Ourselves. Don't look out at anybody else. Okay? But remember these things. Because I'll tell you what. It's going to be what makes or breaks a person and or their loved ones or their community after that balloon goes up. And I still see it coming. Boy, do I ever see it coming. I've been paying attention to the news over the weekend. It's not getting any better. Things are escalating to a point now. I don't know if we can just go back without conflict. I really don't. Especially speaking on things like Venezuela, especially. I don't know if there's much backing back down, not with this administration and this country in general. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I see that there will be an attempt at a military invasion. We'll just call it what it is. And I don't think that's going to work out so hot. Because we already know Russia's there. Russia's already been working on getting a base built up there. We know that China is there. Okay? I don't think that this is just going to go away. And I don't see any of them backing down. And I don't see Trump or any of us backing down. I just don't. And that's going to lead to a war. I do believe that's probably going to lead to World War III. Now, a lot of people think automatically when you say World War III, that means nukes flying. No. At one time, I would agree with that. Now, not so much. Not so much. Not only is there a plethora of other weapons and other types of weapon systems that can be deployed, I don't think we've reached that point to launch. I really don't. Now, other countries, on the other hand, things are getting a little messed up in those countries, right? Pakistan, India, things are a bit tense there right now. Between Iran and Israel, things are pretty tense right now. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, Iran doesn't have nukes. Oh, yeah? So you personally know that. You personally know that. Because I've been calling out that North Korea had nukes for better than 10 years before it became common knowledge. Okay? Okay, so let me tell you about this. I think he was a high school student, and this was some years ago, actually built a nuclear bomb, right? For a science project. For a science project. So if you think that a U.S. high school student could build a nuclear bomb, right, for a science project, and you don't think that some cat in Iran is smart enough to pull off the same feat, I don't know what to tell you. Here's your sign, as what's his name would say. I can't remember. Bill Engvall, right? I think is the sign guy. But anyway, you know, they've been enriching uranium for a long time, and we know that. We know that. Not only that, but guess what? There's other countries, right, that could give them enriched uranium. So I wouldn't count Iran out as not having nuclear weapons, and I definitely wouldn't say that Iran wouldn't use them, okay? I don't think Iran really wants to bother anybody, right? At the same time, I think Iran wants left alone, just like all these other countries, just like Venezuela, just like Syria, just like Libya, okay? All these countries just wanted to be sovereign. North Korea is another. They just wanted everybody to leave them alone and do their own thing. They didn't want to bother anybody else. And they keep getting poked at, right? Because they're sovereign. They have their own monetary systems. They have their own natural resources. And let's face it, that's the reasons why we went to many of these places. If you don't believe me, take a look at the map of where the different countries, these sovereign countries, joined up with the central banking system, and then look at the dates that are the years that these countries were toppled. And you will see that it goes far beyond coincidence. That is what it is about. That is what it is about. Being in the central banking system and natural resources. So we'll see how it plays out. Let me go ahead and get to the news, and we'll discuss the news. And like I say, some crazy stuff. Let me throw my glasses on that I thought I had at my desk. That's okay. I got another pair here that'll work just fine. And had to have a sip of coffee because it's under the contract somewhere, somehow. Okay. Let me get that screen up and over. Oh, I'm not scrolled down. See, I'm so fired. It's been a busy day, I'm telling you. Busy, busy day. Going to be even busier tomorrow. I'm hoping come Thursday things will wind down a little bit. A man can dream, can't he? Oops. Okay. I think I put out stuff on the 6th, which would have been Saturday, I do believe. Yep. So I want to make sure to cover that stuff too. I always try to remember to cover the weekend. Okay, woman who worked at church day school arrested in child pornography case, victim ages 2 to 3, and this I believe was over in the UK. This wasn't in the United States, but nonetheless, man, that is like insane. Where is the moral of this country, or any country, the earth I meant to say? Where's the morals? I'm not seeing them anymore. K Jewelers, Zales, and Jared closing more stores. Now check this out. I believe the article said something like over 250 stores or something like that. And I wanted to point out, 150, sorry. Yeah, they'll be closing 150 stores. They've already closed more than 260 locations. The reason why I wanted to point this out in particular, because one of the things that everybody's wanting to blame all of this on is online shopping. Okay, they're wanting to say, oh, these retail places are closing because everybody's going to Amazon and eBay and whatever, doing online shopping. Let me ask you a question. How many people do you know of go and buy high-dollar jewelry online? Because if you let me know of anybody that you know of that has, we'll point at them and laugh together, okay? Because that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. So people that go to these high-dollar jewelry stores, okay, they aren't the type of people that's going to be ordering online. It just don't work that way, right? You got to spend that much on a rock or a piece of metal, and you're going to want to see it. You're going to want to hold it in your hands and put in the goofy little eye thing and check it out, whatever, I don't know. I've never bought any good jewelry, can you tell? So, these places are closing. That should be a clear indicator, okay, of just how serious this issue is, number one. And for two, that this isn't just a problem because of online retail, okay? It's not. There was a video that Evil shared with me, it's last week, I believe, that went down and broke down very well about that whole argument that it's because of online sales that, brick and mortar stores are falling behind. And the guy did a really incredible job at breaking it down and showing that that is not the case at all, that sales all around is plummeting. So I figured that showed a good indicator of that. Several DCFS employees lost licenses after falsifying information. How do you like that? Of course, it was in Illinois. You know how that goes. Jennifer Hart drove her 6 children to their death as her wife looked up how much they would suffer. Now, this didn't just happen, and many of you may have heard about this. This is just heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking, folks. It's we've got to stop pushing agendas, okay? And I'm really going to leave it at that, okay? But there were agendas pushed here, and because of agendas being pushed, things didn't go exactly how they felt, that whole, well, I identify as, things didn't go quite how they felt they should go, and they couldn't deal with it. And instead of just taking their own lives as 2 adult, weak human beings, they took their lives and 6 children with them. Sad. It's sad. You need to stop with the agendas. They're not doing any good. A mysterious infection spanning the globe in a climate of secrecy. Actually, it's a pretty interesting article. Pretty scary, really, when you think about it. It's just another way that the old fecal matter can hit the high-speed air relocating machine, right? Just another way. In fact, the book series that I'm reading now, I'm about halfway into the 2nd book, It has to do with a pandemic, which wipes out about 95% of the planet's population. It's actually a pretty good book. First time that I've read a book that's gone this direction. I normally like the EMP stuff, but I think I've pretty well ran out of EMP books. Let's see. You elected them to write new laws. They're letting corporations do it. Okay. It was an investigation by USA Today. It just takes me back several years ago when I had a hang up with the city of Highland here, and with their Nazi building and zoning. So it was crazy. They kept on and kept on and kept on. Well, all that's going to get me to do is start digging and digging and digging. So that's what I did. I started digging into the city ordinances via the city's website. Well, when I did so, I came across the cover letter to the city ordinances, and come to find out, our city ordinances was written by an international company, okay? And I raised hell about it. Now, since then, that cover letter can no longer be found on the city's website. Everything else is there, intact, just the way that it was, but the cover letter is gone. So, it's a fact, right? And they'll sit there all day long and try to tell you, well, yeah, but we ratified that, and blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. Unconstitutional is unconstitutional is unconstitutional. It does not matter, right? If you start out unconstitutionally, you're going to end unconstitutionally. It's just the way it is. But yeah, that's happening. I know firsthand. That's happening. Grandmother charged with killings of 8-year-old twin boys. Absolutely insane. And this, by the way, I put those out yesterday, those articles there. Starting from this morning, Quebec protesters decry discriminatory bill banning religious symbols on state workers. It's kind of sad, right? It reminds me of the writings in the Bible that talk about, God being removed from everything. This is insane, and I get it. I get people wanting to have a separation of church and state and all that, and I respect that. I highly respect that, right? But if a person whom happens to either work for the state or be elected by you and I, if you vote, wants to personally wear a cross or some type of other symbol, so be it. Why are we getting so hung up about this? Why is it that only one side is being told they can't do something, right? And the other side can just wreak havoc? I'm telling you, agendas, and they're not good. Not good. It's going to bring us down. State of decay. U.S. inmates I'll try that again. U.S. inmates sue jail over mold, mice, and maggots falling on dining tables. Yeah. But, of course, you're going to have the people out there that are like, oh, well, they're in jail. Oh, they're in prison. They don't... Really? Really? And those are the fake patriots, by the way, because those that truly understand what our forefathers intended are up in arms about things like this. Okay, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening to incarcerated people. We could talk for 3 different shows, non-stop, about our prison systems and the corruption in it and the amount of people that are in our jails and prisons that have no business in being there, whether they be innocent or whether they're there for victimless crimes. We could talk for show after show after show about that. So, with that understanding, with the understanding that probably at least half the prison and jail population shouldn't be there to begin with, and I'm being very conservative with that, why are they living in these type of conditions? It's not okay to be okay with that. Not okay to be okay with that. I believe it was in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. It was like boiling hot. The cooling systems didn't work. And it was like, I forget what they call it, but it wasn't a prison, and it was like a place where they hold people awaiting trial, okay? And so anyway, the cooling system wasn't working properly or wasn't working at all, and it was like steaming hot in there. I mean, it was debilitating hot in there. I believe there were deaths involved and everything else from the heat. So people started raising hell for something to be done. So something was done. They put in properly working cooling systems, and then as payback, you know what they did? As payback, they turned it so cold in there that it was just as unlivable. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. We have to stop treating other human beings like they're trash. Believe me, there are trash out there. There are complete, total trash out there. But in most cases, they're not rotting away in our prisons and our jails. They're out here amongst us, taking advantage of as many people as possible and stepping on as many as they can. It's insane. Insane. I'm an assassination risk, Assange to Ecuador court in leaked testimony. So I haven't heard anything new on that. I'm sure many of you know that Assange believes that they're going to expel him out of the embassy. We'll see. I don't know. It's crazy. He should be protected. You know, that's what's so sad. You know, how many times did Trump reference WikiLeaks? Right? How many times did Trump himself thank Julian Assange and his efforts and WikiLeaks efforts? Right? And now he acts, we got to do something about this guy. Gotta love that. But boy, they love to point out to you how the Democrats turn on their own people. Right? That's why I don't play for red team or blue team. Right? No military solution. U.S. demands immediate halt to Haftar's march on NATO-ravaged capital of Libya. War hysteria. India rejects Pakistan's claim of an imminent attack as preposterous. Expected bloodbath in Tripoli, an outcome of ill-advised NATO toppling of Gaddafi, a historian tells RT. And I've spoke out against that since it happened. I've spoke out against what happened to Gaddafi because, hey, whether you like it or not, whether you like that country, first of all, you might want to check yourself to find out that what you've been told is the truth and not propaganda. Okay? And then secondly, you need to dig into why that happened. Okay? Not good. And like I said, that's just another one of those countries that was sovereign and was forced into the central banking system and had their natural resources, their assets seized. Okay? You really got to check into what was going on. Gaddafi was doing some very, very awesome things for that country and for the people of that country. He really was. Don't believe the propaganda. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to drink coffee though. Not tea. Not yet. Oil prices spike to 5-month high as military conflict in Libya escalates. And I know I've seen on social media a lot of people asking why their gas prices have been going up. So, I'd say multiple reasons, but this is one of them. Like an alien attack, Norwegians baffled by peculiar cloud activity overhead. Turned out to be a rocket launch, or at least that's what's claimed. It was a rocket launch. So, gold belongs to the people, not bankers. Italian government moves to seize reserves from central banks. So let's keep an eye on that and see how that turns out for them. Okay? I would be willing to bet that they're not successful. Okay, we'll see. Let's keep an eye on it. Remember that in the back of your head as you see all kinds of issues arise in Italy. In gold we trust, China boosts bullion reserves as part of Beijing's anti-dollar push. Right-wing Israeli politician's foot fetish video shows up on Pornhub before parliamentary election. Okay? Aren't these the folks, right, that are supposed to abstain from anything like that, anything at all. And I'll tell you what, I have a high respect for Jewish people, for those of the Jewish faith. And I'm not talking about the Zionist government. Let's make that very clear. I'm talking about the people of the Jewish faith, the ones that are actually faithful, or at least try to be, okay? This is what their leaders do, the people that run their country and control them. This is the type of activity that they are involved in, okay? Think about that for a little bit. Think about that. It's pretty messed up. Pretty messed up. UK government trying to control online free speech is very serious and sinister, says an analyst to RT. We're seeing that happen globally, but it's happening really, really quickly in other countries like the UK. It's happening really quickly in France. It's happening, obviously, very quickly in New Zealand, Africa, Australia. It's very interesting to see all this stuff unfold right in front of our eyes. And you're probably not going to get a chance to see much more of it unfold because it's going to be censored. It's going to be censored. Only functioning airport in Libya's Tripoli hit by an air raid. U.S. designates Iran's Revolutionary Guards as terrorist organization. So we're seeing a ramp up with this. Shipping capacity of Russian Arctic Sea route to top 80 million tons in 5 years. So that's something that we have to look at too, because see, energy is a big business, right? Energy is an extremely big business, along with trade, okay? And it's reached a point, right, in the United States to where we kind of have to be a predator, okay? And I'm not talking about you and I, but the United States in itself kind of has to be a predator in order to keep the fiat dollar alive, okay? Because this dollar is collapsing. The dollar is losing everything that held it up, okay? So the only thing that they can do to keep the dollar afloat at this time is to be the main exporter, right, for things like fuels, energy, for, you know, what goods it is that we do produce. Okay, so that's why you're seeing a lot of tightening in areas of trade and stuff like that because, again, fiat currency, I call it bullshit. When you hear the word fiat, just to replace the word fiat with bullshit, and that's pretty much what it is because it's essentially consumer confidence. That's what props it up as consumer confidence. Well, consumers aren't going to be real confident when there's no reason to be. When they're broke, they can't afford to buy anything. They've got just an absolute crazy amount of debt. Okay? Confidence tends to go down. Well, when that happens, so does the value of a fiat currency. Okay? So you're going to see them tightening up a lot. So be interesting to see what happens with this. Iran's foreign minister recommends designating U.S. CENTCOM as terrorist organization in a reciprocal move. I never could say that word for... I need, like, text-to-speech. That's what I need. Do a much better job than me. Netanyahu thanks Trump for designating Iran's Revolutionary Guards terrorists. Absolutely insane, right? How do you say that, like, you're fighting the deep state when you're in bed with the deep state? How does that work exactly? Because I don't know. India shows radar data, claims to have radio intercepts proving it shot down Pakistani F-16. I really don't know why this is a big debate. I really don't. I mean, is I don't get it. I do not get it, but whatever. Tit for tat, Iran's Supreme Security Council puts U.S. troops on its terrorist groups list. This bothers me. Okay, that bothers me, right? Hey, if you want to put our government on some type of watch list, or if you want to declare them a war criminal, have at it, right? But the good men and women that wear the uniform that are serving, I have concern for them. You know what I mean? As we should. I think we should. And I hate to hear things like this. I really do. Let me have a sip real quick. Morally bankrupt pathological liars. Facebook slammed by New Zealand privacy commissioner. Buying S-400 Turkey's sovereign right. Putin and Erdogan speak to press in Moscow, which of course it is. It's their right. Whatever weapons they want to buy from whatever country they want to buy, that's their choice. Trump fires Secret Service chief. I think that's very interesting. I think that details of that is going to be in the coming days and months. Probably a lot of craziness going on. I don't know. We'll see. 3 American service members and contractor killed in Afghanistan. A U.S. decision on Golan Heights violates UN Security Council resolutions, says Putin, which it does, but we'll see what happens with that, because it doesn't seem like the U.S. can at least do anything wrong to the point that anything gets done, It's just weird how one-sided it all is. A man planning truck ramming attack at National Harbor near D.C. was inspired by ISIS. Kind of don't even know why that's a headline, but I put it out there. I mean, because I'm just saying, it's kind of like, no duh, but does it really matter anyway? The Pound Me Too gagged media silent as holes emerge in Michael Jackson abuse documentary. Apparently, somebody that was, I guess, involved in writing the documentary had claimed that Michael Jackson had sexually abused him. Amongst his claims, he had claimed that the abuse happened at the train station at Neverland, right? I was going to crack a joke there, but never mind. At Neverland. I keep wanting to say Netherland, right? Like nether regions, Anyway, I seriously wasn't trying to crack a joke there. I was going to, but never mind. Anyway, so anyway, this abuse supposedly happened at this train station, but there's one problem here, right? When the guy claims the abuse happened was 2 years prior to that train station even being built. So it was a lie. Complete and utter lie. So, again, agendas. I'm telling you, agendas. This whole Pound Me Too movement, nothing but agenda. Nothing but agenda. There are victims out there, and I feel for the victims, okay? We need to do what we can to help the victims. But part of helping those victims is doing something about these fake victims, right? Because the real victims aren't getting any help while these false victims are in the forefront. They're not. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And we largely don't see anything happening to them. We don't see, you know what? We need to double the sentence for what would happen to the person that was the claimed abuser. We need to double the sentence that they would get if it were true and give it to the one that falsely accuses. Now you start a rash of that across the nation, and you're going to see a lot of these fake victims dry up. And there's a big argument on that, saying, oh yeah, but the people would be scared to come forward. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's an excuse. That's an excuse so that they can keep on doing what they're doing, destroying lives. I'm not saying Michael Jackson was innocent. I'm not saying he was guilty. You know what? I was never a child in his presence. I can't tell you either way. I can only tell you that if I had a young child, there ain't no way in hell I would let them go off alone with Michael Jackson, right? Nor would I let Jen go out for a few drinks with Bill Cosby, okay? But that's just kind of common sense, whether people like it or not, right? It's just common sense. I wouldn't do it. Michael Jackson was a little off. He was a little weird. And it just gave me that feeling, that vibe, right? So I can't sit here and say that, he was guilty or he was innocent. But I can tell you that if somebody's making a claim that something happened 2 years prior to it being even able to happen, yeah, that's fake. And I think something needs to happen. Not only have they profited from pity and this and that and the other thing, but now they're profiting from a documentary, right, on a lie. Something should be done about that. And lastly, Canada calls for social media crackdown over fears of foreign cyber interference in elections. So, okay, there we go. That is the monologue. If you're here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't even blink. We're not going anywhere. We'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We just close up our monologues, and this is how I do it, so I can put it out as a video later. And let's see, trying to think. Don't forget, Friday we're going to start doing a thing called Free Time Friday. And so right after the monologue, like I just got finished doing, instead of going and playing video content, we are going to be talking and discussing things. I'll actually be paying attention to chat, unlike I can do most days. I'll actually be paying attention to chat, and we'll be discussing whatever is on people's minds, whether it be news, prepping, or, I don't know, next Christmas, whatever. It doesn't matter. So remember, Jen's huffing at me. Remember, that will be starting this Friday. So, okay, going to close up the monologue. Again, for those here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. For those that just watch the monologue or the recording thereof, thank you very much as always. God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.